These are challenging times in our nation, from Minnesota and right here in the Twin Cities. Relationships between residents and law enforcement are at a critical crossroad. We've seen the tragic results of confrontation between officers and residents, and we've seen our own peace officers who protect and serve us become targets of violence. And no one should feel threatened when they are encountered by law enforcement, but together we can help make things better. I'm Greg Coleman, former Minnesota Viking, broadcaster, minister, and I've lived in Hennepin County since 2004, and over the last 3 years, I've worked with many other residents to develop policies for the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. And as a member of the Hennepin County Sheriff's Community Advisory Board, I have a seat at the table in important discussions about officer training, diversity hiring, and use of force. For the past 10 years, the Community Advisory Board has had input in the Sheriff's annual budget and in adopting an annual strategic plan. Now, the Sheriff's Office also has 5 resident councils that also participate in developing of new policies and programs. As a direct result of resident input, the Sheriff's Office now allows religious headdress to be worn in the jail and accepts matricular IDs from the Mexican consulate for visitors' access to the jails. These changes are not initiated by the sheriff or staff, but by residents. Now, residents on these councils are also working with the Sheriff's Office to identify qualified candidates to improve the agency's diversity.
We've empowered our resident advisory councils and our community advisory board to help our training unit and our deputies out there to recruit from the different diverse communities so we can intensify the diversification of our agency. It's really hard to reach out to the communities of color unless you've got other folks representing your agency who also come from those communities of color.
In 2014, President Barack Obama convened a task force to look at the ways that local law enforcement agencies can work together with community members to fight crime and to build trusting relationships. The task force 21st Century Policing Report created a roadmap for recommendations for law enforcement and residents to restructure our relationship agency by agency. The Sheriff's Office will now serve as just one of 15 demonstration sites for the work that we've done in building trust through accountability and transparency. Our work will be shared with as many as 18,000 local law enforcement agencies across the country.
So often the mission of a local law enforcement agency is misunderstood. There's some type of gap between the community and law enforcement, and it doesn't need to be the case. Progressive law enforcement today is more transparent. Progressive law enforcement today communicates with the public in the ways that they want to communicate with us.
Doña Queta, ¿cómo está?
I'm a member of the community engagement team, and this is our job. Is we come out here, we talk to people, and we talk about building trusting relationships is what we do.
The Sheriff's Office hosts one-day Citizens Academy where we invite members of the diverse community that we serve into our office, and we educate them on how our office works from all the different divisions and what they can expect as community members. And that works to promote transparency so they understand and trust what our office is doing.
Officer and employee training is one way an agency can ensure that the expectations of our community mirror our values in the work that they do on our behalf. All of the sheriff's employees have been training on the 21st century principles, and the sheriff deputies are learning about procedural justice. The entire agency, including deputies, jail security staff, office personnel, management, even volunteers, will also participate in the training program about implicit bias.
Respecting constitutional rights and respecting personal liberties, privacy is job one for local law enforcement. Every single day it's incumbent upon me as the chief law enforcement officer of this county and the men and women who work in local law enforcement to reflect the communities that they serve, but also treat them with compassion, dignity, and respect, and to find some common ground to issues that are so important to them.
The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office is but one of a number of agencies adopting a new approach in keeping the public safe. The Guardian model recognizes the Sheriff's Office employees and deputies all are part of our community, and they also want to live in a safe community. Like us, they are working hard to earn a living, to raise their families. They coach Little League. They run in 5K races on the weekends, and they serve as Girl Scout and Boy Scout leaders.
These are your brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and relatives and neighbors who are local law enforcement officers serving here in the Sheriff's Office. They live down the block from you, they go to the same school, and I think that's really, really important to understand that the police is the community and the community are the police.
The members of the Community Advisory Board I serve on, as well as the Residents Council. The volunteer special deputies, the sheriff, and the 800 men and women in the agency all share a common goal. Together, we are changing the community, changing the culture of an agency that serves in partnership as guardians in our community. Through the 21st Century Demonstration Initiative, we all are helping to shape generations of law enforcement agencies around the country for years to come. And working together, we can make a difference and help keep our community safe.